Hello everyone, I'm Red Team Beaver and welcome back to day 17 of the Advanced Cyber 3 by TryHackMe. This challenge may be new for a lot of you guys. I know it was new for me. Well, not totally new, but basically it's all about AWS or Amazon Web Services. So what is AWS? Well, AWS is a cloud provider made by obviously Amazon, and it's huge, it's massive. And in the past, I did a CTF with similar challenges to what we're going to be doing today. So I added a little bit of basis. However, it was mostly new for me. So I won't dive too deep into the theory part. As always, I will let you read it. And now I'm just scrolling up and down. So I'll just show very briefly all the services that Amazon has, well, AWS has, which is massive. So basically S3 buckets are storage services. I won't dive too deep. Go read about it. They're going to be better at explaining what this is than me. There's different types of authentication, which we'll actually see during today's challenge. And finally, there's different ways to get information about who you are, quote unquote, using these commands. So what I'll do is I'll dive straight into the challenges, but I'll also refer to the different comments that are written up here. So let's go straight into the challenge. So first question is, what is the name of the S3 bucket used to host the HR website announcement? So that's this thing right here, right? So there's a new HR thing that was created by the Grinch, basically. And basically how you can see the name of the S3 bucket is you can copy the image and copy the file location. Then you can go ahead and look at it. So you see how it works, right? There's s3.amazonaws.com/ and that's the thing we want, right? So that's this part right here. That's the name of their S3 bucket. And actually, fun fact, we can actually see a similar challenge up here, right? So there's these two. This one is being hosted on TryHackMe, but this one is being hosted on AWS, as you can see here. All right, so let's close this, and let's go back to question 2 straight away. That was quite fast, wasn't it? So the next question is, what is the message left in the flag.txt object from that bucket? All right, so now we need different elements, right? First off, we need to list the content of the bucket, and then we'll validate that indeed flag.txt exists, and then we are going to be able to read it. So how can we do that? Well, if we scroll all the way up, we can look here at Amazon S3, and there's a command to list inside buckets. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this syntax, but instead of putting the IRS form, we're going to put the bucket name right here. And then we can do -- no sign request as shown in the example command. So doing so will actually list the content of this S3 bucket, and we can see that flag indeed does exist. So how can we read flag? Well, we can either download it, but we're going to do that later on. So let's just access it just like we would access a picture, for example. We'll be using curl. So let's do http:// and then it's images.bestfestivalcompany.com.s3.amazon aws/flag.txt. So what is all of this? Well, if we go and see here, right? So we see that we can download it, but we can also just read it, right? So what we're doing is we are curling the resource. So what we're doing here is that we're reading this public.xml thing. So what I did was I just replaced this part with our S3 bucket name. And that's it. I left the same, and I also specified the resource being flag.txt, right? Apparently I made a mistake. So I made a small mistake. My mistake was that I didn't put .com here. So that's a flag. So now we can enter it here. For the third question, what are the file in that bucket looks interesting to us? So let's list it again. So let's list the content again. And as we can see, there's WP backup.zip that looks very interesting to us. So how can we download this? Well, we can't simply read it, right? Because this is .zip file. So we need to download it. How do we do that? Well, first off, let's answer this question. WP backup.zip, and I forgot the dash. All right, so for the question 4, what we need basically is to download this thing and then read inside of it and look at the AWS Access Key ID, right? So how can we do that? Well, we can do, for example, AWS, and we can actually go read it here, right? So AWS CP, and then we can basically attempt to access it, right, using this. And basically we're only going to replace this form here with our name, right? So let's keep this, and then instead of doing all of this, let's just do this, and then give wp-backup.zip, and then according to this syntax, we need to give the directory in which we want to save the file, which is going to be our present working directory, and finally -- no sign request. So this should work and should give us a file. Now, if we look inside our downloads folder, we see a file here. So let's unzip it. And we see that now we have a folder. So let's cd to it and look inside. So this is a basic, regular WordPress output. And we need to, well, WordPress file system, basically. And now we need to find the AWS Access Key ID. Usually this kind of information will be found inside the WP config file. And yes, it is. So we find it right here. So this is our secret AKI. And if we look at the hint, it actually, it tells us that we need to find a AKIA, basically key, which we found. So let's submit it. So what is the AWS account ID that access key works for? Okay, well, there's some commands that we can use for this, and this one is the first one, for example. So let's refresh this and finally get our key again. But we'll see that it doesn't work, right? Because we need to configure our AWS to have this key and this secret, right? So let's scroll up a little bit and let's do AWS configure. So what we need to do is now provide the key. Then we'll need to provide the secret, which we actually found as well here. Next, we can provide the region, which in my case is going to be US East. And finally, the default output format. We can do text, we can do XML, and we can do JSON, for example, but we'll stick with XML just because this is what we've been working with so far. So now we can actually do the command to get our information, our answer. Oops. All right, so the output type doesn't work because I inputted XML. So that's my bad. So let's go to our home folder into .aws. Now let's look inside and let's nano our config file. Let's put output to JSON. I know JSON works. That's a small mistake I did. And let's try our command again. So doing so, of course, it worked this time because XML, for some reason, isn't maybe spelled like this. I'm not a pro. So let's get this. Now, what is the username for that access key? All right, so scroll up a little bit, and finally we get this. Get the username. So what is our profile? Well, our profile is going to be default, right? As we saw right into our cat. Let's cat config, and you see that this is default, right? So this is the profile. So what I need to do here is input default like this, and we find the username right here. Great. So there's an EC2 instance in this account. Under the tags, what is the name of the instance? So how do we list this? Well, we can use this format and again provide default. Now this is going to be ugly. This isn't a very pretty output. However, we see the tags right here, but still I'll try to not use output text and I'll use my default output of JSON, and maybe it's going to be actually prettier. So let's just keep going down until we see the tags. All right, so we see tags now. So these are tags, and we actually see HR portal, which we can guess this is the right answer just because this is actually the name HR portal, and also the whole challenge is based around HR portal. So I'm gonna guess this is HR portal. So what is the database password stored in secrets manager? All right, so now secrets manager, how does it work? Well, there's nothing in this challenge about secret manager, right? At least I don't think so. So if we look at the hint, they actually tell us to use AWS secrets manager help, which we'll do. Let's do this, and now we see a similar man pages basically. And if we look, we can actually list secrets. We don't know the secret name. Basically, how secret managers work is that we'll need to get secret value once we have the secret ID, because we need to give the secret ID to secret value. So let's start with this, right? And I'll show you what I mean with that. So let's get secret value, and you see that we need secret ID. But secret ID can be found if we do list secrets. So listing all secrets actually shows us that there's an portal DB secret, and the name of this is HR password. So let's copy this and let's give our -- secret -ID value of HR password. Now, inputting it, the secret string is that the secret string we're looking for is not in this region. That's sad. So how can we look closer to where Santa lives? Well, we can go look at AWS regions, for example. And let's look at regions and available regions. So we could basically brute force them and try to read all of them. However, let's be smarter than that and actually guess that EU North, because of the North Pole, is going to work. Maybe Northeast could work as well, these ones, but honestly, let's just go do the good one. So let's do -- region, and finally EU North 1. Doing so will actually give us a secret string of winter 2021 ! Which is a common password used in enterprises networks. So just like that, guys, it was a bit harder of a challenge just because I'm not really used with AWS, but thanks for sticking with me. And just like that, we've completed day 17 of the Advent of Cyber 3 by TryHackMe's. Thank you guys so much for watching day 17. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something about AWS. I'm sure it did. So if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to support me, the links are in the description below. I will see you tomorrow for day 18. Bye-bye.